Heather Herring with Underdogs Performance Horses, certified massage rehab muscular therapist. And on today's video, we are going to be working on bringing circulation to the lower legs. This also pushes acid down. This is very good for older horses. If you're about to perform, it'll help warm the legs up. Arthritic horses, anything like that, this is very good for. And my partner here today is Red Velvet. She is 25 years old and a retired barrel horse. However, I pulled her out yesterday, or a couple days ago, for a couple fun runs at a show because I do keep her in shape. And she did very well, but obviously this is going to be hard on the lower legs. And today is my massage day for everyone since I have the day kind of off. So I'm going to be working on her lower legs as well as her whole body, but for today's video we're going to be focusing on these lower legs, starting with this front leg. Let me get this lead rope out of the way. Should be very good. Obviously don't be sitting on the floor with a horse that you don't trust, or really any horse, but do as I say, not as I do. And so for this kind of exercise, we always start here just below the shoulder where it brings into the leg, and you can go up and down to start with because we're working out any tension that might be here. So you're going to start up and down, just working out any tension. I know you can't see her face. You might be able to hear a lick and chew if I'm not talking too loud. But we're just working any type of tension out of here, and she never has a lot of tension, really in general. And usually I'll do this, so as I'm working the hips, because I always start from the back and go up, I'll work the hips and go down to the lower legs, and then I'll do my top line, and then my shoulders and neck, and then I'll work my way down here, or I'll do the shoulders, work my way down here, and then go up to the neck, depending on what the horse needs, because sometimes if I can work the legs out, and especially if I stretch them, it'll help work that shoulder out. But today we're not doing any leg stretches. We are just going to be pushing the acid down and working out any tension and bringing circulation. And I do recommend having, this is not the rubber curry I usually recommend, but this is all I have back here. I'll make a video with an actual rubber curry that I would normally use, but I'm not going back and forth. So there's not any tension here, so after I work out anything that might be here, then I'll take it and work from the top down only, because now we're trying to push that acid down. And I might take my thumb in a light fist. I might take the knuckles in a light fist. I might just take the thumb or do a V shape, like so. Anything to push this acid down. And obviously we do the same with the other leg for today's video. I'm not going to go every leg. When I massage her, I obviously will, because I'm going to go back and do all this again with her to make sure she's even. But I'm just going to be showing you guys one side because it's pretty common sense what to do on the other side. So this is the exact same thing. Push everything down. She's got a little bit here. But I don't want this to be a 20-minute video, so like I said, I'll come back and do a little bit more when I am done. There she is. There you go, move that way. There we go. So we'll move all of that down. And now I might come back, and if I was working the shoulder, I would have already worked on this elbow and these lower pecs, like so. I keep my hand like a L, or I prefer to call it a V, and I'm pushing my thumb back and kind of really indicating where that elbow ends and the pecs start. So I'm pushing all the way through here between that elbow and between where the girth kind of sits a little bit. The girth would be a little further back than this, obviously. And just, I should be able to feel that elbow bone compared to where the girth area would be, and just loosening that up. I might come back up here, but usually I'll do this as I'm massaging the shoulder region. And then, like I said, we'll push this acid down. Again, I really like using the V. Not everyone does. Some people might take their fingers like this and rake through it. But to me, it's easier to save my fingers so my fingers don't get so sore and use this part of my hand, because you're not going to use this in many other places. So I'm saving my fingertips for parts that, you know, this shape would not work for, and I'm pushing that acid down. See here, we've got kind of loose skin, so I might pinch it a little bit, pinch it up, almost like I'm picking it up. I'm not going to actually pinch my horse. That would not be very relaxing. But we're just kind of picking it up off that bone because we want to bring circulation down. Because if you feel this lower leg now, because I haven't ridden her, it's going to be a little bit cold or a little bit room temperature. Kind of just depends on the temperature outside as well. Obviously, you're not going to feel a lot of heat because now you're thinking, well, why does my horse have heat here? What's going on to cause that? Because if they're not working, there shouldn't be heat. And I'm just kind of adding, you know, you might do some circular motions. I might take my curry and rake up here, because this will, again, save your fingers, and this is going to get a little bit deeper. I might go up and down, or like I said, do some circular motion. We're just loosening up this skin off of the bone and any fascia here. I come back through here with my fingertips and back through here, again using that V shape just above the knee. And again, we want to get this inside as well, kind of take my forefingers and rub on it like this, right where that knee is starting to form, and then I'll come back through and push the acid down. And you see she's not releasing a ton. Sometimes she releases quite a bit. Today she's released once or twice, from what I've seen, for sure once, with that deep breath. Sometimes they release more than others. You know, we're not working out any tension, but you can see she's standing completely still. I mean, the bugs are starting to come out, and she has only stomped that back leg. She's not moving this front leg. Knock on some wood, but she's pretty relaxed. This mare's pretty impatient, and honestly, her eyes are starting to close right now, even though she's not taking any deep breaths. But like I said, and this is her more arthritic leg on this one. She's got some white spots here. I don't know if you can see them. So anywhere where you feel a dip, you really want to focus there, because obviously that's going to be where acid might build up. And as you start to feel the leg, you know, I'm making a video. It's hard to... Johnny releases more than Velvet does, apparently. That acid might build up in these little pockets, so when you feel it up in person, it's going to be a lot easier to understand what I'm talking about than, you know, a video and you're just looking at something. You're not going to understand where it dips and where it doesn't looking at a picture or a drawing, but when you actually feel it, then you're like, okay, I know what you're talking about. So I really encourage you, as you're watching this video, to go and just, even if you're not specifically working on bringing circulation, if you just feel the bone, because like right here we've got something, and you know, I'm still learning a lot of these names, but we've got tendons and ligaments all through here, and we really want to make sure that we're paying attention to that to help bring circulation down there. I don't know every single name yet. Most massage people, if they were, you have to put a lot of work into memorizing the name of every little thing, and I am in the process of doing that. So right here, and a lot of this is using the thumb, going up and down through here, and I know we spend a lot of time in every spot, but that's kind of what you got to do. She liked to chew just for a second there while I was trying. There she goes. Thank you for showing the camera that. And now I'm kind of starting to make my way to this knee, and she's got arthritis in the knee, so you see there wasn't a lot of release here, but she doesn't have any issues there. But the second I went onto that knee, you saw her immediately release, because this is where she's got a lot of lactic acid built up, and she's just got a lot of arthritis in these knees here from so many years being a barrel horse. And so I might do some circular motions here. I'm going to spend a lot of extra time here because we know that they need it. And I might take my curry comb especially and rub this knee up and down, do some circular motions. Either way, counterclockwise usually is to relax, and clockwise, well, let's see. Clockwise is to activate, think of a clock. Counterclockwise is to relax. Always have to look at the shoulder to remember, because I do that a lot on the shoulders. And we're bringing circulation down. So right now I'm going clockwise, but another time I might go counterclockwise. But my brain is, I trust my intuition. My intuition is telling me that we want to activate this. She's about to go in the pasture, and knowing her, she's going to be running around like a mad woman. And so obviously there's not muscle in these front legs, let alone the back, these lower limbs. There's no muscle here, so we're not really feeling for any tension in a muscle. We're just looking to do what we can do. You might feel for some fluid pockets, and a fluid pocket, you will actually feel fluid in that pocket, so you don't have to question, like, is this a fluid pocket? If you feel fluid or it's like really squishy, then you know that they've got some fluid built up, and you might not be able to fix that. She doesn't have any that I know about. It could appear at any day now if she was going to get some. And once they got them, sometimes you can work it out, but usually you really can't. So all you can do is just do the best you can do when there's some fluid built up somewhere. And so you just want to, this is really good before they run. I like to do this, especially with Rocket's my main horse. So I like to really work down here, because if there's not a lot of circulation down here, how are you going to expect him to run or jump or turn? Same with the pleasure classes. So I do a lot of this with maybe a half hour before they run. You don't want to do it right before, because you want to give them time to stretch their legs afterwards, warm up, get some water. And I know this is kind of a long video. You might expect it to be 20 seconds. But when you really go down to a step-by-step, it takes longer than you might think. So down here, you can definitely feel the arthritis on her. It's not major, but it is there, and that's why I retired her in the first place. And so you're just going to kind of do any type of movement that's moving that skin around to bring, hi kitty, to bring oxygen down your circulation. Good girl. Now she's kind of moving around. She's like, come on, dude. You can take that palm of your hand where it dips in. I do that a lot on the knees, because the knees are really easy to do. You're just working. This to me is a lot easier than the tendons. The tendons worry me, because when I first got into horses, everyone's like, oh, it's so easy to tear a tendon. You don't want to mess with it too much. But then when you actually take a massage certification course, they get right in there. So you really don't have to, don't be taking knives down there and shit. But you can definitely work your fingers through there to really help bring circulation down there. Excuse my language, I'm 19. So I might take this curry back here. This is where the arthritis is, so like I said, I want to spend some extra time here. When you're going behind, I might take almost like I'm pinching again, but just rake it up and down. And then after I finish getting circulation through, then I'll only work down, because again, we want to push that acid down into the coronary band. Right here you feel a dip, so you're going to work from a tendon, ligament, and you just work in there a little bit extra. Or this back of the knees, I believe it's called the carnus bone. No, it starts with C. Alright, that honestly is very good. So now I'm going to push everything down because we're pushing all the acid down into that coronary band. And this is where we get into the tendon, the very low limbs. And again, take your rubber curry. This is not the type of curry I usually use. A basic little rubber curry. But this is going to work. And so I really recommend feeling this tendon. You can take your fingers, again, like you're pinching someone, and feel right in between each one that's in there, because you want to know what you're messing with. Alright, it's not as fragile as one might think, but it is still not something they want to mess around with if you don't know the mechanics of the lower limbs and the conformation and how they are formed. So I'm taking, now I am just reading about it, and I am certified, but going to farrier school, you learn a lot more about down here, and I'm just reading my farrier school book where you learn about knee down. A massage is going to focus on here and now, down, but it mostly focuses on the biomechanics and the conformation here and up. So forgive me for not knowing the names of each tendon yet. I am reading about them, and I gotta bring my book back here and actually feel every tendon and say the name 100 times over. So again, forgive me for not knowing the names of these tendons quite yet. I am trying to memorize names, but while I don't know the name of these tendons, I know the feel of these tendons, and this is kind of where you take your pinching, and it's just above the pastern, in right dead center on that whole cannon, and you're going to feel kind of where it dips, because there's quite a few tendons, ligaments, and different structures through this cannon bone. The bone itself is shaped wonky compared to our structures up here. So it's really good to just get a feel, and kind of, you can see me kind of pinching like so down here just above that pastern. Then I'm going to come back up here. We have some tendons and ligaments, and we're going to be very, very, very gentle. Again, they're not super fragile, but I still like to be very careful working through here. In fact, I actually work through below the knee. I work through very quickly. The knee is really where I focus my attention, on the knee and the pastern. But it is also very good to bring circulation to this cannon bone. And so I might take my hand and rub this is the back side of our cannon. And I might just make some circular motions, up and down motions. We can do the same thing here, on each side. And you can feel the heat start to come when we're rubbing on it like so. And like I said, this is where it comes, where you need to get a feel, because we're almost pushing the fluid down between each tendon through this cannon bone. We're taking our pinching, and this time we're actually pinching because we have a space here. When you feel it, you'll really know it. You probably already know it if you have been around horses. And you push the acid down through it. Here, she's licking and chewing right now. I don't know if you can hear it. Pushing the acid down. And this is where we're going to come into our pastern bone. And I like to just, it's literally, if you know your pastern, it's almost like a circle through feel. And so I kind of just make circular motions on it. I'm getting a lot of hair on me right now. This is really good during shedding season. And you just kind of take that base of your palm, I like to use, and I take my fingertips and I hold, but the motion is all in the palm. There, she's licking. Same thing over here. And like I said, I'm going to do the other side off camera at the very end. But right now we're really just focusing on just showing you guys as well. Yeah, now she's releasing quite a bit, so there might have been some built up acid and some lack of circulation through this pastern here. And I'm trying not to block you guys. If you have any questions, comment them below. Now I'm going to push it down. And you can work a little bit on this fetlock joint. And so I'm going to hold her hair up. And you can go right back here. And I like to take 2 fingers and I slide down. I do this a lot more when I pick up the hoof. So if I'm picking out the hoof, that's when I'll work on this fetlock joint here. And I'm just pushing down. Then I'll flip it. So I'm going this way and push it through where the bulbs of the heel are. I'm working just ever so slightly down there, but theoretically at this point you can be done. But I'll kind of take a circle now, like a crescent moon, and work it back and forth all the way through. Now I might do some circles. This is now where we're starting to get done. And her eyes are closed right now, if you can see her face. I need to get a cameraman. You sleep, baby? There we go. So that's the front leg. I'm going to change the camera and then we're going to look at the back leg. And the front legs for me take a lot longer than the back legs. When you're working on your barrel horses, you might want to spend more time on the back legs. But for me personally, I focus a lot on the front legs. I don't know what it is. It's just I've always focused more on the front legs. But you do what your intuition tells you to do, what feels best for you in that moment with that horse. You know, get a feel for that horse. You know, if they have more arthritis in the back end, you might want to spend more time in the back end. All of her arthritis is more front end, so she spends a lot more time here. And you can actually feel a difference in heat, especially on this cannon bone. I feel a lot of heat, not so much in the knee, which means I probably could have spent more time on this knee here, and I might come back and do it. But you can really feel a difference in heat once you start working down here, warming it up, getting some circulation down here. So yeah, let's go on and work on the back leg now. So at this point, I definitely already know I need to work on this hip with her. But for the sake of the video, I'll come back to it when I'm done. So we're going to start kind of here and work our way down. I might come from these hamstrings. If I'm starting my horse and I'm in an actual session, I might work my way from these hamstrings, and as I finish working those hamstrings, then I'll come into this hock kind of naturally, like so. And that'll really, and you might be able to do some rocking back and forth. You see her kind of rock. And you can rock it this way. A little bit of a rocking motion. Normally, again, you wouldn't be on the ground for this. But if you start by working these hamstrings and work your way into the hock, I think you're going to have a lot more luck with this. And the hamstrings in barrel horses is usually locked up anyways. But right here is kind of where we're going to start. Once we have, you know, at this point in your session, you should have already done their hamstrings and their hip, which for her is locked up still because I haven't worked on it today. I'm doing it after the video. And you're taking your thumbs, hopefully you can see, yeah, and push it down. You're pushing any tension down through here. And I'm not going to be able to work all of this out from here because this is locked up ever so slightly. It's really not that bad. I've felt much worse. But I definitely want to get, and honestly, from already working a little bit down here, it's already gotten a little bit better up here to where it's really not that bad. Just needs a little bit of tweaking because she ran Sunday and she's 25 years old, so she's going to get a little bit locked up after a run. But she has never, ever, ever been bad. So we're pushing that acid down here. This is a lot harder for me to rake through. I don't know what it is. But I don't like to push up too much on these back legs. I mostly like to go down. But you do what feels best for you as long as you're working on getting circulation through here. Including on the back side of this, I might take my hand and rake up, like so. You might come up way up by where their udders would be and work through here, but usually you'll do that when you're working on the hip. Because you're kind of just raking and putting a little bit of pressure to work all of this through. And again, and especially if you don't know the horse, please don't sit by the ground, especially not by the back legs. I've had this horse since 2017, and in 2018, she's kind of a brat, but I'm allowed to do this with her. So know your horse, and don't blame me if you get hurt, because I warned you about 20 times not to do this. But this is a lot easier for me. It's where I need knee replacement surgery. So I kind of sit on the ground with mine, but I trust mine. And I usually trust my client horses, and if I get hurt, that's on me. But I like to know the horse first. If I know that horse is dangerous or I can feel it blowing up, then I will not do this ever. So we're pushing our acid down through here. I might do a little bit of kind of quick compression. So I press, lift, press, lift, press, lift, and as I move around the leg. That felt good for her. Everyone's falling asleep in here. All right. And I might work on this a little bit longer, but for the sake of time, we're going to finish up here. Now, the hock is my favorite to do. I don't know what it is. It's so satisfying for me how it's shaped. And this is where we bring our pinching back. And you can also take your curry comb. Again, not the curry I recommend, but this is what I have back here, and I'm not going back up to the house. So you'll start kind of at the top of this hock joint, right up here, and you'll pinch all the way through. I normally don't use this hand, but it might be easier for you guys to see. Might be also harder. You're pinching all the way through. Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing. I might take this whole hand here, and we're working this whole hock joint. Might take each individual hand and wrap it here and then pinch. Might rake up and down here. I hope this doesn't mean, yeah, she's pushing me. That was mean. Or maybe she was giving it to me. But it kind of looked like she wasn't enjoying that so much. Not super relaxing. But she made this a lot easier for me to grab it. So you definitely want to be careful with these joints here. I might hold some pressure here. The hock for me is a lot easier to do. I'm trying to make it so you guys can see. It's very easy to see how this shape goes here, like so. So you can pinch through here on each side. Don't just work the outside. I might take this and kind of circle it. Johnny, stop tricking me. He enjoys licking and chewing, apparently. Now, work through here. The front of the hock joint is a little bit harder. Kind of on this inside, we've got, it's a little bit easier, but directly in front, not a lot you can do besides kind of move it around, especially on tight old mare like this. So I might take my curry to work through here, loosen it up as much as I can. You can also take it through where it dips down, almost like a bowl, a sideways bowl. And you can do all the way in there. You can take here and rub on it. You can even do up here, it might be easier. I had done that earlier. Get each side. I definitely recommend using a curry. I think you're going to get a lot more out of it. See how she is now relaxing? I don't think she's going to pick that up. Like, this is a lot more relaxing for her. And I'm in the same area where she lifted it up before and kind of was like, get off of me. And, you know, she could have been like a little deeper, but my first reaction from her doing that is like, and you're doing it wrong, lady. So we're working through here. All right, we're gonna call it there for the hock. I like that a lot more. Pretty warm, got some circulation going through it. And the hand is, you're gonna actually be able to move the skin here in a circular motion. Hopefully you can see the whole hock, the skin over the hock anyways, moving here as I work this. All right, she's looking at you in a teensy-weensy bit. Right here, I can work it now that she's lifted this up in a relaxed manner. We can work each side of this with our thumb. This is again where we say like, hey, you need to feel this to really know what I'm doing. It's going down to this cannon on the hind limb. And again, push all the acid down. And this is kind of what I do here. We might rub it a little bit up and down. Might take it back and forth. She's looking and chewing quite a bit right now, so there might have been a little bit of arthritis working down these lower limbs on the hind end. A little bit starting to form. She is 25, that's going to happen. So we're really going to want to get the circulation going down here. And I might I'm taking it and I'm squeezing as I go down. So squeeze, 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 as I work my way down. And you can do this on the front leg too. But my intuition wasn't telling me that. And when I was working on the front leg, it wasn't telling me to do this. But the back leg, it's like, yes, please. So now I might take and find in the middle, in between these tendons and ligaments and everything through here. You can really feel it. Might pinch. She'll tell me she's not a fan. She liked it better when I was grabbing. So again, that's why my intuition was telling me to do my squeezing. But with another horse, they might like you push it. And it definitely helps to get in between there to push the acid down. I'm going to try to get out of the way here. Alright. Finish with this cannon bone right now. Not a lot I can do here. Might do a little bit of circles here because there's something there. Now push it all down. Okay, going into this pastern. Same thing as the front leg, a lot of circles. And my first reaction is to rub on this inside in a circular motion. Not really making the pastern itself circle, but my hand is doing circles. Going in the front here. In the back a little bit, on the side, and then I'll do all the way around. And now we're kind of wrapping our hand around, going back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Bringing the circulation through here. All right, to our fetlock. Same thing, taking our 2 fingers, pressing all the way down from our pastern all the way down, sloping it down. Take it through here, go all the way down on these bulbs of the heels. Maybe we might circle it through here. Now on our coronary band, we might rub back and forth, even going all the way up and all the way down through this fetlock joint. Alright, that's about done. Oh, she loves that. Alright, and again, we can take her curry comb all through here. Take it down here. They're lifting it up, and it'd be a lot easier. Take it all the way through here. Alright, so that is everything. After I finish this video, I'll of course go on to this other side on both outside legs. But as far as these inside legs, this is everything you can do. And hopefully you'll learn quite a bit from this video. I highly recommend doing this before you run, or if you have some extra time. Obviously, I'm not doing anything with her after this. And I didn't just do it for a demonstration video, but I knew it would help her after running all day Sunday. Because she actually did a gymkhana, which she has not done in about 2 years, because I don't run them hardly ever. Especially now with an old horse like this. But I don't know. I just decided to. So this is just really good for everything. And I highly recommend you do this, especially if you're about to compete on your horse or if you have an older horse. This would help a lot. With her arthritis, I do this pretty consistently with her. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you guys so much.